ॐ ॐ सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यङ्करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरयेत्। वासुदेवेन्द्रयोगीन्द्रं नत्वा ज्ञानप्रदं गुरुं मुमुक्षूणां हितार्थाय तत्त्वबोधोऽभिधीयते। Just give me a second. The computer is taking time to open the document. Very sorry to have kept you waiting. This we had done. We were in the Pranamaya Kosha yesterday, right? Pancha Koshaha ke Annamaya, Pranamaya, Manomaya, Vijnanamaya, Anandamaya Cheti. So we saw what the Annamaya Kosha was. I'll just quickly read this one more time. Kosha means a covering. So, Koshavat achadayati tasmat koshaha. The cocoon of the silkworm covers the silkworm totally. The silkworm is bound by its own creation as it is unable to free itself. The scabbard of the sword covers the sword. It is of the same shape as the sword. It indicates the presence of the sword even though it covers the sword from one side. The scabbard is always different from the sword and does not affect the sword in any way. Similarly, the self is covered by 5 sheaths, that is Annamaya, Pranamaya, Manomaya, Vijnanamaya, and Anandamaya. The fact that I see, think, feel, etc. indicates the presence of I. The functioning of these sheaths proves the presence of the self, but they cover the true nature of the self. The 5 sheaths are of my making, but I get so identified with them that I am bound by them and am unable to free myself. Even though I am essentially always free from them, I get attached and affected by them and therefore suffer. We have to discover the self as beyond the 5 sheaths. The food sheath, Annamayah kaha, Anna rasenaiva bhutva, Anna rasenaiva vriddhim prapya, Anna rupa prithivyam yad viliyate, tad Annamayah koshaha sthula shariram. That which is born from the essence of food grows by the essence of food and merges into the earth, which is of the nature of food, is called the food sheath or the gross body. The word Maya in Annamaya means modifications. The body is the result of modification of food and hence called Annamaya. The food eaten is digested. Its very essence becomes the sperm in man and the ovum in woman. They combine to form the seed from which the fetus is formed. It is nourished in the womb by the food eaten by the mother. At birth, the child emerges from the womb and is nourished by the mother's milk. It grows up and develops in strength and size due to the food eaten. We consume mountains of food in our lifetime. Finally, we die to merge into food, that is earth. The earth itself becomes the food we eat, and therefore, from earth we are born to go back to the earth. Or one can say that we are born from food and go back to food. Adyate ati cha bhutani tasmat annam taduchyata iti. Food is that which is eaten by beings and which eats beings. We eat food and food in turn eats us. Many die by overeating. Also, their body gets eaten by many viruses and bacteria even while we are alive, and by worms and other beings when we die. The soil from which we are shaped in turn gets converted into food eaten by others. Identifying with the Annamaya Kosha, I say, I am tall, fair, Vaishya, etc. Pranamaya Kosha. Pranamaya kaha, Pranadhyaha Panchavayavaha, Vagadindriya Panchakam, Pranamaya Koshaha. What is Pranamaya Kosha? The 5 physiological functions like prana, etc., and the 5 organs of action like speech, etc., together form the vital air sheath. The vital air sheath
Brahmaraji,
pervades.
I have a question. In Annamaya Kosha, it is means specifically it is food related. But when we learn somewhere, means what is my understanding? Whatever we listen, we accept from our surrounding. Also, that is also Annamaya because that is the food for soul. Again, when we are hearing something or like that,
No, that is
it is
implied.
clarity. Huh?
That
Pardon.
is implied. The food
Okay.
that we get from the senses
Hmm.
is an implied meaning.
Okay.
But here, when you're talking of Annamaya, it is the
Only
gross body.
food. Gross body. Okay. Thank you.
It is the gross body that we're talking about. What you're talking about, the senses, other senses feeding, that is feeding the not the stula sharira, it's feeding the sukshma sharira there,
Correct. Correct.
isn't it? So
Mm.
what you hear, what you see, but Annamaya here, it is
Totally
basically the
gross.
earth element. So
Mm.
something that is coming from the
Mm.
earth goes
Going
back
to
to the.
the. Mm. Correct. Thank you.
That is why he's talked about food nourishing we eat food and that forms the sperm and the ovum. Basically, it is a physical aspect, the gross body. So the vital air sheath pervades the food sheath. It is subtler than the food sheath. The five modifications of air, Vayu Vikara, which control the main physiological functions of the body, are called pranas. They are prana. Breathing is governed by the prana. When the inhalation and exhalation is slow, deep, rhythmic, and even, then the breathing is proper and good. The slower, deeper, more rhythmic, and even the exhalation, the better the breathing. Apana, the evacuation and rejection of all wastes from the body is taken care of by apana. Were it not for its efficient functioning, toxic chemicals and waste would gather in the body. Vyana, the circulation of blood and nourishment to every cell of the body, is the work of Vyana. When one sits in a particular posture for a long time and the blood does not circulate freely, one commonly experiences leg cramps and the like. Udana, all reactions or reverse processes are done by Udana. Example, vomiting, burping, shedding tears, and sneezing. It is responsible for the mind rejecting one thought and taking another. It supplies the necessary power to the subtle body to leave the gross body at death. Samana, the food eaten is digested and assimilated by samana. The five pranas are vital to life. They function silently from birth to death, even while we sleep. If even one of them were to stop completely, we would die. They connect the subtle body to the gross body and energize both. When they function efficiently, the body remains healthy. The sense organs are keen, the organs of action strong, and the mind alert. When they malfunction, the body becomes ill, imbalanced, weak, dull, and diseased. Hence, the emphasis on pranayama in the Yoga Shastras. One can control the pranas through the mind, and the yogis are known to be able to stop their breathing or heartbeat and breathe from their rib bone, etc. Normally, they function naturally and involuntarily. Fortunately, one does not have to learn how to breathe or digest and keep doing them consciously. So, these are things that happen automatically. The 5 pranas and the sense organs of action together are called the pranamaya kosha. Identified with it, a man says, I am hungry, thirsty, etc. So even if one of these pranas doesn't function, then there is the person eventually will stop, will no longer exist, as in physically. So even if one of them were to stop completely, so you talk of prana, you stop breathing, of course we would not exist. We would die. Apana, if the excretory function of the kidney stops, that would lead to death, renal function, renal failure. And then you have samana, if our food is not being digested, all the malabsorption states, and udana. Udana, of course, is required for the subtle body to leave the gross body. So that is the last prana that leaves, that takes the subtle body from the gross. And circulation of blood, if there is cardiovascular failure, the heart stops functioning, there is no circulation of blood, that itself will lead to death. The mental sheath, manomaya koshaha kaha, manascha jnanendriya panchakam militva yo bhavati, sa manomaya koshaha. Manomaya koshaha. Kaha, what? Mana, mind. Cha, and. Jnanendriya panchakam, the 5 sense organs of perception. Militva, together. Ya, which. Bhavati, becomes. Sa, it. Manomaya koshaha, the mental sheath. What is manomaya kosha? The mind and the 5 sense organs of perception together form the mental sheath. It consists of the mind and the sense organs of perception. The mind is the seat of emotions like anger, jealousy, love, compassion, etc. It is constituted of thoughts in a state of volition. Shall I read or not? Is it fun or not? It is the mind that perceives the objects of the world through the senses. If the mind does not back the sense organs, they cannot receive any stimuli. My eyes may be open, but I miss what lies in front of me if my mind is elsewhere. It is only through the mind that the organs of action also respond to the world. Identified with the mental sheath, I say, I am happy, I am unhappy, I am getting deaf, etc. The self is neither happy nor unhappy. It is of the nature of pure bliss. So the mind, along with the organs of perception, forms the manomaya kosha. The sense organs are only like the golaka, just like the the instrument, but unless the mind is backing them, they have no function. They cannot function without the mind. For instance, someone is daydreaming and something is placed in front of them. The mind is elsewhere. They will not even see what is in front of them. And even the organs of action do not function without the mind. For instance, in sleep, if there is a mosquito or a fly that comes and sits on our face or head, hand, wherever, the mind is not there at that point. So the sense, even the organs of action do not function. So you need the presence of the mind in order for the sense organs as well as the organs of action to function. Although there are some involuntary actions like reflex actions that happen, but even then the perception of the mind of pain, for instance, is required by the mind. See, it is only through the mind that the organs of action also respond to the world. So, identified with the mind, with the mental sheath, I say I'm happy and I'm unhappy. I'm getting deaf, etc. The self is neither happy nor unhappy. It is the nature of pure bliss. The intellectual sheath. Vijnanamayah kaha buddhi jnanendriya panchakam militva yo bhavati sa vijnanamayah koshah. Vijnanamayah kaha what? Buddhi jnanendriya panchakam. The intellect and the five sense organs of perception militva together. Ya which bhavati is saha it vijnanamaya koshaha. The intellectual sheath. So, what is Vijnanamaya? The intellect and the five sense organs of perception together is the intellectual sheath. It is subtler than and pervades the former three sheaths. It controls the other three. It constitutes the intellect and the five sense organs of perception. The five senses are common to both the mental and intellectual sheaths, as perception involves both the mind and the intellect. Thoughts in a framework of decision making is the intellect. So, thoughts in a framework of volition is in the form of the mind. That's the difference. So, should I not? This yes, no happens in the mind, whereas thoughts in the framework of decision making, it's firm, is the intellect. Ignorance of the self manifests first as the decision of the intellect as I am a doer, I am finite, etc. This then gives rise to the notions I am tall, I am hungry, I am happy, etc. Knowledge of the self
In
also takes
Manomai Kosha
place.
also it is said, no, I am hungry, I am happy because of the mind.
No, I am hungry comes from the Pranamaya Kosha.
Yeah.
I am tall comes from Annamaya Kosha. I am happy, emotions and all come from the Manomaya Kosha. So the Vijnanamaya Kosha pervades all these three sheets.
Okay.
Knowledge of the self also takes place in the intellect as I am infinite, I am pure happiness, etc. The intellect is the seat of the values of life based on which we have in the world, based on which we live in. Actually, there are lots of typo errors I noticed in the text. Hmm? But we'll get the whole import, we'll get the gist. What we value, we try to emulate, run after, or cherish. If I decide money is everything and I must have it, I act accordingly. The intellect discriminates between right and wrong, real and unreal, etc. To innovate, create, discover, visualize, imagine, observe, conclude, inquire, question, recognize, assimilate, etc., are intellectual abilities. The mind carries the sense perception to the intellect. Based on previous experience, it recognizes, understands, and decides on the course of action. It conveys the same to the mind, to the organs of action, and the body to act accordingly. Hence, the intellect is called the driver of this vehicle of the body. Buddhim tu sarathim vidhi. This was in the Kathopanishad, if you remember. So, the vital air, mental, and intellectual sheets together form the subtle body. Note, during such analysis as above, The mind and intellect may be expressed as two different entities. It might help to keep in mind that they too are only two names given to the same mental faculty when its function differs. Mind when it feels, and intellect when it thinks. It is in common parlance, this is expressed as the heart and the head, respectively. So, this is very beautifully explained here, as in the thoughts in the framework of decision making is the intellect, and ignorance of the self manifests first as the decision of the intellect as I am a doer, I am finite, etc. So, with that comes the jiva with all its finiteness. So the intellect is the seat of not just this the decision that because of ignorance that we say I am a doer, I am finite, I am kinchignaha, alpagnaha, all of that. It is also the seat where knowledge dawns. Knowledge of the self also takes place in the intellect as I am infinite, I am pure happiness, etc. So that is why we need to sharpen the intellect and purify the intellect. And how does that happen? And that happens with knowledge, with viveka, vairagya, all the pillars of knowledge. So it depends on our value system. Intellect is the seat of the values of life. So what values we have, that will determine our actions, our thoughts, and our deeds. So if you value money, you will run after money. If you value power and fame, that is what you'll be after. But if you value knowledge, as in you value mumukshutvam, that is what your life will be directed towards. It also discriminates between right and wrong, real and unreal. So all these faculties, all the aspects that is to innovate, create, discover, all this requires the intellect. The mind is only carrying the sense perception to the intellect, but the intellect is the decision making faculty. And therefore, it is called the driver of this vehicle of the body. Buddhim tu sarathim vidhi. So, what constitutes the subtle body? The vital air, mental, and intellectual sheaths together form the subtle body. The bliss sheath, Anandamaya Kaha, Evameva, Karana Sharira Bhuta Vidyastamalina Sattvam, Priyadi Vritti Sahitam Sat, Anandamaya Koshaha, Etat Kosha Panchakam. Anandamaya Kaha. What is Evam in this way? Eva alone. Karana Sharira Bhuta Vidyasthamalina Sattvam, established in ignorance, which is of the form of the causal body of impure nature. Priyadi Vritti Sahitam Sat, united with thoughts like Priya, etc. Anandamaya Kosha, bliss sheath. Etat, this Kosha Panchakam, 5 sheaths. What is Anandamaya Kosha? Established in ignorance, which is of the form of the causal body of impure nature, united with thoughts like Priya, etc., is the bliss sheath. These are the 5 sheaths. The subtlest and the most pervasive of the sheaths is the bliss sheath. It is otherwise called the causal body. It is of the nature of ignorance of the world and the self, yet endowed with the bliss of the self. When night falls, the world is covered by darkness. All objects and their distinctive characteristics merge into it. The objects are not destroyed, only they are not perceived. As the day dawns, distinctions manifest. Similarly, in deep sleep, when only the causal body is at play, all dualities, the ego, anxiety, agitation, the world, the subtle and gross bodies, etc., merge into total ignorance. The cleaner and steadier the water, the sharper and brighter the reflection of the sun. When there is total purity and stillness, the sun is reflected perfectly. Similarly, the water of the mind reflects the bliss of the self. In the deep sleep state, as there are no thought manifestations, in that state of absence of agitation, the bliss of the self manifests totally. But due to ignorance, it is said to be of impure nature. Even in the waking state, the mind which is pure and calm, sattvic, experiences greater joy than one which is agitated, rajasic, or dull, tamasic. It should be noted that all experienced joys are reflections of the bliss of the self alone. In the deep sleep state, there are no degrees in this bliss, but in the waking and dream states, we experience various qualities and intensities of joy. There is the sattvic joy of watching a sunrise, the rajasic joy of watching or reading a thriller, and the tamasic joy of hurting another. Again, there is joy in thinking of a dear object or being, priya. The intensity of joy increases when you actually gain the object or meet the person, modha. The joy is maximum when you enjoy the object or become one with it, pramoda. You forget yourself and all dualities of the enjoyer and the enjoyed. There is only enjoyment. The five sheets from the covering form the covering which conceals the jewel of the self in its folds. They are modifications of the elements, born to die, and are known to be different from I, the pure self. The self is beyond all modifications, unborn, immortal, the witness of all. We are thus different from the five sheets. This is explained in the following text. So I'll actually read this one more time. The bliss sheath. So the subtlest Anandamaya Kosha is established in ignorance, which is of the form of the causal body, of impure nature, united with thoughts like Priya, etc., is the bliss sheath. These are the five sheaths. The subtlest and the most pervasive of the sheaths is the bliss sheath. It is otherwise called the causal body. It is of the nature of ignorance of the world and the self, yet endowed with the bliss of the self. When night falls, the world is covered by darkness. All objects and their distinctive characteristics merge into it. The objects are not destroyed, only they are not perceived. As the day dawns, distinctions manifest. Similarly, in deep sleep, when only the causal body is at play, all dualities, the ego, anxiety, agitation, the world, the subtle and gross bodies, etc., merge into total ignorance. The cleaner and steadier the water, the sharper and brighter the reflection of the sun. When there is total purity and stillness, the sun is reflected perfectly. Similarly, the water of the mind reflects the bliss of the self. In the deep sleep state, as there are no thought manifestations, in that state of absence of agitation, the bliss of the self manifests totally. But due to ignorance, it is said to be of impure nature. So, this Priya that we experience in deep sleep state is of impure nature. Why? Because of this ignorance that is still there. Even in the waking state, the mind which is pure and calm, sattvic, experiences greater joy than one that is which is agitated, rajasic, or dull, tamasic. It should be noted that all experienced joys are reflections of the bliss of the self alone. In the deep sleep state, there are no degrees in this bliss. That is why deep sleep of everybody, whether he's a king or a pauper or a prince or a terrorist or anyone, deep sleep is the same, uniform for everyone, irrespective. But it's only in the waking and the dream states that this joy can vary. Vary in the same person, vary from one person to the other. So, in the deep sleep state, there are no degrees in this bliss. But in the waking and dream states, we experience various qualities and intensities of joy. There is sattvic joy of watching a sunrise, the rajasic joy of watching or reading a thriller, and the tamasic joy of hurting another. Again, there is joy in thinking of a dear object or being, that is priya. So, priya, moda, and pramoda are different degrees and intensities of joy. The intensity of joy increases when you actually gain the object or meet the person. That is moda. The joy is maximum when you enjoy the object or become one with it, pramoda. So you could liken this to, for instance, you're fond of gulab jamun. The thought of the gulab jamun itself gives you a little pleasure. But when it's in front of you, it actually increases. But it is greatest when you put that first gulab jamun in your mouth. So the joy is maximum when you enjoy the object or become one with it. That is pramoda. You forget yourself and all dualities of the enjoyer and the enjoyed. There is only enjoyment. The five sheets form the covering which conceals the jewel of the self in its folds. They are modifications of the elements, born to die, and are known to be different from I, the pure self. The self is beyond all modifications, unborn, immortal, the witness of all. We are thus different from the five sheets. This is explained in the following text. Madiyam shariram, madiyaha pranaha, madiyam manascha, madiya buddhir, madiyam ajnanamiti, svenaiva jnayate, tadyatha, madiyatvena jnatam, kataka kundala grihadikam, swasmad bhinnam tatha, panchakoshadikam, swasmad bhinnam, madiyatvena jnatamatmana bhavati. So, Madiyam Shariram, my body, Madiya Pranaha, my pranas, Madiya Manam, Mana, my mind, Cha, and Madiya Buddhi, my intellect, Madiyam Ajnanam, my ignorance, Iti, thus, Svena Eva, by oneself alone, Jnayate, known, Tadyatha, just as, Kataka Kundala Grihadikam, bangles, earrings, house, etc., Madiyatvena Jnatam, known as mine, Swasmat, from myself, Bhinnam, different, Tatha, so also, Pancha Koshadikam, the five sheets, etc., Swasmad, from myself, Bhinnam, different, Madhiyatvena, as mine, Jnatam, known, Atma, self, Na Bhavati, is not. Such a beautiful analogy. Just as bangles, earrings, house, etc., known as mine, are all other than the knower, me, so too the five sheets, etc., are known by the self as my body, my pranas, my mind, my intellect, and my knowledge, and are therefore not the self. Actually, more than my knowledge, I think it is my ignorance. Madiyam ajnanam. So, my ignorance, and are therefore not the self. An object related to me is called my. I am different from what I call my. Also, I know it is my. The knower is different from the known. I say, my wife, my house, my watch, etc. Similarly, I say, my body, my breath, my mind, etc. Just as the wife are etc. are known, the body, etc. are also known to me. If the wife, house, etc. is not me, then how can the body, breath be me? The logic behind the fact that I am not the five sheets is simple. But the most simple facts are the most difficult to grasp and accept. Our mind is so complicated and the habits of the past so strong that one does not see the truth. Even if the truth is appreciated, it is not accepted. Even if it is accepted, it is not owned up to. This mistake takes place despite logic too, because A, the self is unpredictable and inconceivable. Therefore, we have no notion of it. It stands well covered by the five sheets. And B, the five sheets are always in proximity of the self, and this makes identification with them easier. Therefore, through continuous discrimination and firm resolve, one must uncover the self and get liberated from the shackles of the five sheets. So the logic is simple. We are able to understand that what is mine is I am different from what is mine. Like my house, my wife, my watch, etc., are not me. Similarly, I'm able to perceive that this is my body, my pranas, my mind, my intellect, my ego, my ignorance. So, which means, using the same logic, anything that is mine, I am not. So, therefore, I am different. But why is it different, difficult to understand this, to grasp this? It is because of because number one, the mind is so complicated and the habits of the past. That's the identification from lifetimes, the samskara that I am the body, that is so strong that prevents one from seeing the truth. So that ignorance has to be cut by the sword of knowledge. So even if the truth is appreciated, we all appreciate, but it is not accepted. Even if it is accepted, it is not accounted for. So, which means we have to be constantly aware, live in the moment, have this discrimination, this viveka. This mistake takes place despite logic too, because the self is unpredictable and inconceivable. Therefore, we have no notion of it. It stands well covered by the five sheets. They're strong, like stuck to the Atma like skin. And the second reason is the five sheets are always in proximity of the self. There's no separation because the self pervades all of them. So this makes identification with them easier. That is why we identify with all the five sheets. Therefore, through continuous discrimination and firm resolve, that dhriti, one must uncover the self and get liberated from the shackles of the five sheets. So this happens through Shravana, Manana, and Nididhyasana, contemplation. I think we'll stop here. Anyone wants to share, sum up the whole thing? And then we'll have some questions.
So basically, it is the intellect which is more important, most important rather, which even the mind is complicated, like it cannot be under control. So it is the main guiding thing is our intellect. And I was thinking like how sometimes very brainy persons, like they have a good they are good in their skills and this, but that wisdom is lacking. We often see people who are uh, very good in their work, but when it comes to wisdom, that wisdom is lacking in them. Like we can give example of like a person may be very good at his profession or in any skill, and but he doesn't look after his parents or don't do that social or any responsibility of the type that he should be doing. So will we call it a lack of intellect, or is it
No,
something else?
it is because of his value system. No,
Value
his
system.
values are wrongly directed.
So values are again governed by the intellect. No,
Yeah,
intellect will be telling us that this is right, this
correct,
is wrong.
correct.
So intellectually, that person is weak, though his mind is strong. Like his
Uh,
potential is very strong. We
no,
say
his intellect is impure. See, it depends on how pure your intellect is. It's a degree of purity. So the intellect which is discrimination and is pure is aligned to dharma, aligned to the positive values of life. Whereas, see, intellect finally is the decision making aspect. It is
yes,
not the mind. So it's a subtle difference between the mind and the intellect. Mind is the seat of emotions, anger, jealousy, all of that, greed, all that is at the realm of the mind. But it is the intellect that decides what to do.
and when we learn something like learn maths or any subject, what then is it both mind and intellect
Mind
performing?
has to be there. Without the mind, it doesn't. That is why intellect is buddhi. What is that? Jnanendriya panchakam militva. So intellect also requires the senses, but it is finally the decision making. You're learning, studying, creating, understanding. All that is at the realm of the intellect.
Intellect. Okay. So not
I
valuing the
can
value
see,
system. Yes.
yeah, I can see this as like on the our body. It's a, like a panel, electrical panel, and there are the instruments called eyes, ears. So these instruments receive the impulses or whatever it is from the outer world, and when they receive it, the perceiver is mind. Who is receiving all the signals from the five senses is mind. And mind then thinking, then whatever it receives, and then the decision making based on the memory, based on the previous experiences, that is the intellect. So unless until you are completely, your mind is completely focused on something, you will not be able to learn or read and understand. So mind and intellect, they go hand in hand for whatever the purpose Dr. Savita has raised. It actually, for our understanding, we say the mind is that part of your consciousness which perceives through the five senses the outer world. It receives the outer world through five senses. And the buddhi, intellect behind the mind all the time is what is good, what is not good, how to go about it, and all those decision making and the next line of action, and everything comes from the intellect. So they go hand in hand actually, because mind, once it receives the signals, and then on the top of it, whatever is to be done with these signals is the decision making done by the intellect. Jai Gurudev.
Yeah, thank you, Madhuri ji. Explained very well. Because there's a very slight difference between the mind and intellect. We often mix them, like mind is always there to perceive.
Yes, only perceive means through the five senses, whatever the signals are coming. If the mind is focused there, it just receives it. That's all. But what is to be done with those signals and how to go ahead with this is all, everything immediately the intellect takes over. Intellect, that way distinctly you can distinguish between the two. But
So
they
we
go
can,
hand in hand, but they are different.
yeah, so we
Their
can say that
functionings are
we
different.
like we do the adhyan, it is with the help of a mind. Then that manan and nidhi dhyasnam which is happening is by the intellect. Can we say that?
Yes, 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 yes. You are right. But the see, the tendency of the mind is it continuously vacillates between the thoughts and emotions. That is the problem of the mind. And there, then, if the intellect is completely alert and aware, then it will not allow your mind to just like that without awareness, it will not allow it to vacillate unnecessarily. When
Yeah.
it starts vacillating, then all the emotions come up and all that drama starts. There, our practices, and the more and more we become aware of this, we then continuously, actually, this the tiredness comes due to this vacillation of the mind. Because when
Yes.
I saw
Very
my
well.
mother-in-law, hardly she used to sleep for 2.5 hours. The body needs that much only rest, complete deep rest, 3 hours. And then whole 20 hours she was so much in the blissful state and full of energy, and never fell sick, never, not a single tablet she has taken with this Alzheimer issue, 7 years. That was a big learning. What is creating the tiredness? It is the mind, because it is vacillating and it is creating all negative emotions. That is a big stress, and that really pulls us down our energy. It is very scientific and very technical. It's very scientific. And continuously living in the present moment will never tire your body. And 2 3 hours is more than enough if you are continuously in the totally in the present moment. But the moment you start thinking, oh my god, I have done so much work, then you suddenly feel the tiredness. You need to do this experiment, you will be surprised. Because I saw it in front of me 24/7 for so long time. I could really distinguish it, how the body and mind they function, and uh, what is that really tire us, what is that which uh, takes away our energy and we feel low. This is very beautiful topic, some other time we will talk about it, Jay.
Yeah, thank you for sharing, Madhuri ji. That was good. We've actually finished our time. Uh, So should we leave the questions for tomorrow?
If we can take 5 minutes.
5 minutes? Okay.
Yeah.
Shiro, we stopped at, we did the 5 3 shariras, Stula Sukshma Karana shariras. And I still wasn't able to clarify that Sukshma Sharira, which I will check with Nana and I'll come back to you on the Ahankara aspect. Now, Shrotrasya, there are Devatas. So this, Shrotrasya, what is the presiding deity of Shrotra?
Dik Devata.
Devata, right? That is the Dik. And Tvacho, what is the deity?
Vayu.
Vayu.
Yeah.
And Chakshushaha?
Chakshusha.
Agni.
Agni.
Surya.
Agni or
Surya.
Surya.
Yes.
Surya.
Mhm.
And Rasanaya?
Varuna.
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 Very right. And Granasya?
Is Ashwini
Ashwini
Kumar.
Kumar.
Ashwina. The Ashwini twins.
Mhm.
I mean, if you remember, 2 nostrils, so dual, so twins, Ashwina. So, Shrotrasya Dig Devata, Tvacho Vayuhu, Chakshusha Suryaha, Rasanaya Varunaha, Granasya Ashwina. Then Jnanendriya Devataha. And Shrotrasya Vishayaha ka
Saptama.
Shabda Grahanam. Tvacho Vishayaha
Sparsagrahnam.
Sparsha Grahanam. Very right. And Chakshusho Vishayaha
Rupa
Rupa Grahanam. Right? Rupa Grahanam. Seeing the form.
Form, yes.
And Rasanaya Vishayaha
Rasana.
Rasa Grahanam. Rasa is taste. Rasa Grahanam. And Granasya Vishayaha
Nose, Gandha
Gandha
Grahanam.
Grahanam.
Gantha.
Gandha Grahanam.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, Shrotrasya Vishayaha Shabda Grahanam, Tvacho Vishayaha Sparsha Grahanam, Chakshishor Vishayaha Rupa Grahanam, Rasanaya Vishayaha Rasa Grahanam, Granasya Vishayaha Gandha Grahanam iti. And then comes
Yes.
Vacho Vishayaha
Vacha Vishaya is walk, right?
Talking.
Payo, Pan.
Vacho Vishayaha Bhashanam.
Bhashan.
Speech.
Talking.
The function of speech is communication. Panyor Vishayaha
Pano is Indra. Sorry.
We're not talking
Devata,
Indra, we're talking
Yeah, I got mixed up.
Holding.
Vastu
Work to
Grahanam.
the hand.
Panyor Vishayaha Vastu Grahanam. Padayor Vishayaha
Gamanam.
Gamanam.
Movement.
Payor Vishayaha
Malak.
Excretion.
Payor
Malati.
Vishayaha Malatyaga.
Malatya.
And Upastasya Vishayaha
Anandati.
Ananda iti.
Enjoy.
So Vacho Vishayaha Bhashanam, Panyor Vishayaha Vastu Grahanam, Padayor Vishayaha Gamanam, Payor Vishayaha Malatyagaha, Upastasya Vishayaha Ananda iti. We'll just finish the Devatas. I'm wondering why the Devatas didn't come.
Devatas for the
There were
walk.
Devatas also, no? For hands, Indra,
Walk
for
is,
legs.
Correct. I know. I'm thinking why that way. That.
It was in this only organs of action.
Walk Devata is Agni.
Agni was for
The hand is Indra and Vishnu is Pada is Vishnu. Prajapati is
Prajapati for that pleasure for that. Yeah, and
Mala is
Yama was for that for the
Anal thing.
Payu.
Yeah.
Payur.
Payu, right?
Payur. Payur Yama Panini
In this,
Indra.
I don't know. I'm not able to retrieve that. Uh,
That slokam you mean?
yeah, I've got it. Okay. वाक्पाणि पाद उपस्थानीति पंचकर्मेन्द्रिय पंचकर्मेन्द्रियाणि कः के वाक्पाणि पाद उपस्थ पायु उपस्थानीति पंचकर्मेन्द्रियाणि वाचो देवता
Can you repeat it one more time, Dr. Brahma?
वाक्पाणि पाद
Pada, right? Pada. Pani, pada,
वाक्पाणि पाद पायु पायु is the excretory organ.
Right.
Payu upastha.
Upastha. Okay, upastha.
Upastha is the genital or the reproductive organ.
Yeah.
Upasthaniti pancha karmendriyani.
Karmendriyani.
So vacho devata.
Vacho devata Agni.
Vannihi. Yeah.
Vannihi.
Vahani.
Vannihi.
Vahani is Agni.
Indra.
Hastayor. Indra.
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 Padayor.
Was Vishnu.
Vishnu. Payor. Mrityuhu.
Yama.
Yama.
And upastasya prajapati.
Upastasya prajapati. Okay.
So vacho devata vannihi, hastayor indraha, padayor vishnuhu, payor mrityuhu, and upastasya prajapati. Iti karmendriya devataha. Okay, so we'll stop here. Tomorrow we'll continue with the remaining questions. Okay.
One quick thing. Yesterday, Madhuri was asking about Udana, right? I just browsed it in Google, and this couple of links I sent it through some yoga institute or something like that. It's interesting, actually. What asanas can help and things like that. But you guys verify it and see what it fits in.
Yeah, we'll have a look at that.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. So we'll close here.
Thank you.
Om Loka Samasta Sukhino Bhavantu. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om Tat Sat Shri Krishna Arpanamastu. Jai Gurudev.
First, let us shake our hands. Shake our hands, and then let's keep our hands on our lap, or however you feel comfortable. And let's close our eyes. Let's keep our spine erect and body relaxed. We came into this planet weighing just 4 kilos or 5 kilos. Recollect or remember the weight of your body. It is 60 kilos, 70 kilos, whatever that is. Place your weight on the chair or on the floor you are sitting right at this point. Let's take a deep breath in. Hold the breath and let go. Honor your own body. Your body is the precious gift to you from nature. Become aware of your whole body, skins, tissues, muscles, blood vessels, bones, and all the internal organs. Your body is a precious gift to you. Now let us come to the second dimension, your breath. It is our breath that is keeping our body alive. Your body is alive because of your breath. Take a deep breath in and let go. Incoming breath energizes the body and outgoing breath brings relaxation. This is happening all the time. Let us honor our own breath. Become aware of the air all around you. Like fish in the water, we are in air. Relax more and more. Let's take our attention to the top of the head and become aware of the empty space above our head. Become aware of the space in the entire room that you are sitting. Embrace all the thoughts, pleasant or unpleasant, good or bad. Become aware of a point right in the center of your heart, center of your chest. And take a deep breath in and breathe out and relax even more. As the body relaxes, the mind expands. And as the mind expands, your body finds deep relaxation. This moment, there's nothing to do and nothing to breathe out. Just let go and relax. Repose in yourself. You are a fountain of love. You are an ocean of peace. Repose in yourself. Take a deep breath in with a smile and breathe out with a smile. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. So as you breathe out, you may open your eyes.